G'day guys, ZiggyD here, back with Monday Musings, the show where I ramble for about 10 or so minutes and occasionally you guys get something out of it. So with Heart of the Swarm being released recently, the StarCraft 2 expansion pack, I thought an appropriate topic for this week's Monday Musings would be the story of how StarCraft 2 changed my life. And, well, games can have a bigger effect than you might expect. Like, they can be a hobby and they can just be a way to kill some time, but certain games, in your life, or things that you get really dedicated to, might not even be gaming per se, can really, change you and change your goals in life and just, teach you lessons about yourself. They can be a bit of a personal development journey. And today I'm going to talk about how StarCraft 2 was that for me. So the footage in the background is just an unranked match, an unranked ladder match, between myself as a Zerg and another player as a Protoss. So PvZ was a big matchup that I was a big fan of. So from the other side of that, I still know how to play ZVP okay, but mostly I'm just focusing on my macro in this game. On that note, I really like this new unranked matchup feature, where there's no pressure of ladder points or anything to worry about, and you can just sort of, have a relaxed game and work on things like your macro without worrying about losing a placement match or losing ladder points or anything like that. So that's pretty cool, and I was excited to do this. Just a bit of background footage, really. So I suppose a good spot to start with this story is ZiggyD before StarCraft 2, because StarCraft 2 was a bit of a turning point in my life, and it led me to where I am now. But where was I before that? So just before StarCraft 2 came out, I was in university. I was studying marketing and management. Pretty much all my younger life, I wanted to be a retail manager. For some reason, I don't know, I was a bit weird like that, but that was what I had idealized in my head as, the ultimate thing, like become this corporate powerhouse and, manage retail stores and, be that powerful, high-paid executive sort of thing. And, I felt like I was pretty keen to do that, but I never felt like strongly passionate about what I was doing. I enjoyed learning about marketing and management and things like that, but nothing really too big. In terms of gaming, I was mostly playing console games. I had played, PC games in the past, like I'd played Warcraft 3, and I'd never played StarCraft 1. I only ever played that on the Nintendo 64, so it was kind of random that I picked up SC2. And in terms of work, I was working in retail, of course. I'd gone from working in an actual retail store to working in the supply chain behind it. So I was working for Target, and while I was originally working in a store for Target, serving customers, that sort of thing, while I was in uni, I transferred to a supply chain place where, basically I split down pallets and moved boxes around and stuff like that. Pretty boring stuff, but overall it was a good job. But I sort of, towards the end of it, started to realize how depressed I was on the path that I was on. I didn't really feel extremely passionate about what I was studying, although I found it very interesting and have in my life found the stuff that I learned to be very useful, but never felt really passionate about it. And I remember around Christmas, Christmas is always a bad time in retail, but around Christmas when I was working in the supply chain place, there's just this point where I just remember standing in an aisle, leaning my head against a metal pole, and just felt like my brain was dripping out of my ears. I couldn't handle it anymore. I needed something. I needed something to grab onto, to be passionate about. So I was, in a gaming store. I was probably in JB Hi-Fi or something like that, and I saw that StarCraft 2 was out. It had only just come out. It had been out for a week or two or something like that, and I thought, I really liked Warcraft 3. I'm a pretty big fan of Blizzard games in general. I really like their lore and their art and everything like that. I remember playing a little bit of StarCraft 1 on the Nintendo 64, and it was fun. It was cool. So I was like, I have a laptop that should be able to run this. I'll pick this up and I'll give it a go. So I played it. I played the campaign a little bit. Sort of very casually dabbled in multiplayer a little bit, but wasn't really any good at all. And then something happened. I don't really know what, but I think I started to watch eSports. It might have even been day 9. I watched my first episode of day 9, and that led me down a path of watching tons of day 9, watching tons of eSports, watching tons of casts and things like that. And I just started to see the potential that gaming has beyond just being a way of killing time. So before that, I'd just been playing console. I played Call of Duty, I played some JRPGs and some random stuff on console, mostly just to kill the time and, for a bit of leisure, basically. That's all I really saw gaming was. I was very very passionate about gaming. I thought it was, you know, an awesome thing, but I never really felt like it was something that could be a serious hobby, or that could be something that really taught you something about yourself, really. You know, I like to think that it was, you know, gaming was instrumental in my growth, but it was, up till that point, was never really anything major. I was driven by other things, but I started to get really absorbed in the multiplayer. I was in bronze, so I placed in bronze, right on the bottom of the bottom too. Like I was bad bronze. I remember, you know, dying to mass void raise and then trying to mass void raise myself, and, you know, dying to just marines. How do I counter marines and things like that? And that was quite the journey. But I just started getting really absorbed, and every spare minute when I was at work, I was like on my phone, reading the forums. I started reading the Reddit, you know, watching casts in my lunch break. Like I would eat lunch, glued to my phone, watching like a Day 9 Daily or something like that. It's just super absorbed, just like blew my mind, the amount of depth and strategy in this game. And I started getting really motivated to improve. So I started, you know, really seriously trying to get better on, you know, in multiplayer. Like I wanted to emulate these pros that, you know, could play so well and have this strategic depth, and my mind just was constantly ticking. And I think for the first time ever, I was really passionate about trying to get better at something. Like, it pulled me so deeply into it, like nothing else had ever done so. And I needed an outlet for all of this, so I was constantly thinking all these strategies, and I needed to like write about it or talk to people about it. And, you know, I didn't really have any friends in real life that played StarCraft. They all played Call of Duty, they all played consoles and things like that. So I couldn't really talk to anyone about StarCraft. So I really needed an outlet for this. And around the time maybe I was it was maybe a couple months into StarCraft, I was in bronze or maybe early silver, like I'd just gotten to silver, and I decided, alright, there's this like really lack of low level, you know, translated for beginners content in StarCraft 2. Like Day 9 at the time was doing a lot of like high level analysis and things like that, and he had these like newbie tubers days and things like that, but it was very hard for beginners like myself to find the information about, you know, a pro tells you just need to macro hard, or, you know, probes and pylons and things like that, but what does that actually mean for a beginner player? How do you get to that point? So in order to, like, you know, fill that gap that I sensed in the market for StarCraft 2, and in order to just have this outlet for myself, just this way of channeling this passion into something besides just playing, because I needed something as well as playing. Like I needed to think about it and you know, work through these ideas in my head when I wasn't as playing as well. So I don't know why, but I had this idea that I wanted to write about it. So I started this this site called learningsc2.com, which is still up, and I've added to it a little bit recently, and I think I'll probably add more to it now. I'd like to, you know, with Heart of the Storm being out, I'd like to like write some more articles on there and post some of my videos on there and things like that now. You guys can go back and check that out, learningsc2.com. And I did like a bunch of articles that did pretty well. Like some of them still get a lot of views today, and, you know, they were really focused on just like breaking down the game from a beginner's perspective. Like I talked about things how to scout, like how do you go about scouting, what units can you use to scout, what do you look for when you're scouting, just different things like that, and, you know, how to use force fields and how to macro, and a lot of different Protoss stuff, because I was playing a lot of Protoss. And through doing this, like I felt this passion as well developing for teaching as well as learning StarCraft 2. So I never really thought of myself as someone who was keen on teaching or even keen on writing. Like, I kind of like, you know, explaining things and writing out answers and stuff in exams occasionally, but I never really thought of myself as a writer. But this allowed me to develop my writing skills, develop my ability to teach, find out and understand what people want to learn and how they want to learn, as well as like focusing on StarCraft 2. So I did this pretty full on, and around the time when I was in the higher levels of silver, I actually I got up the courage to go to a local LAN tournament that was being held. There's not very many in Australia, but there was one, and it was like a $5 entry fee sort of deal. And it was split into basically bronze to platinum and then diamond above. So I don't think Masters was even in the game then. So it was like this split tournament, and I played, obviously, since I was, you know, silver, I played in this silver to platinum sort of group there. and I actually managed to win that division. So I won $60 from that, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. being able to be a silver player there, not be very mechanically sound, but just be thinking about the game so much, I was able to sort of out-strategize my opponents in that tournament, and that was really cool, and that was really inspiring. So I kept pushing, and I kept writing, and I kept doing all this stuff, and I eventually managed to push into Masters, which, going from bronze to Masters, at the time, like the very bottom of bronze, what people would call Wood League now, is I don't know. I felt like I had really achieved something. I'd really been able to focus on something hard enough to improve myself, and I just saw this as this massive personal development journey, because I'd finally been passionate about something enough to really put a lot of work into getting better at it, and that sort of has since then led to what I do now, which is pretty crazy to think about it. I around the time I was in Masters, I started realizing that retail really wasn't what I wanted to do, and I'd been doing all this writing, so I thought, I'm seeing these people do this esports, and I'm seeing people like write online and make a living doing, being their own boss, and I thought, if I can apply the passion that I applied to going from bronze to Masters to something else in my life, like being my own boss and being successful, and not working retail because I really felt like it wasn't something I wanted to do, then maybe I can be successful in that as well. So I started writing. Like, I did this made for AdSense writing, which you write on revenue sites. You write these articles, and it's sort of like YouTube. People view the articles, they read it, and they click on an ad, and you get some money and things like that. And I made a little bit, and from that, I was pretty into that as well. I was nowhere near as passionate as I was for StarCraft, but I was writing enough that I really started to attract some attention from other people who were writing, or other people in that industry, and ended up getting some freelance work. And what that did was that bought me enough time, with the support of my partner, with the support of Amy, and things like that, to be able to just buy myself the time to really find and try and do what I wanted to do. So towards the tail end of that, and some of you guys have probably heard this story before, I did a little bit of YouTube. I never thought, I always thought of myself at that point as, I'm a writer. Like, I'm never going to make YouTube videos. I didn't feel like that was me getting in front of a camera and talking. Yeah, that sounded pretty crazy. But I did some games, and I did some coaching sessions with some friends for StarCraft 2 with a friend named Varthus, and we we made some videos, and they got a few views, and one of the videos got like 1,000 views or something like that. And I thought, this is kind of fun. Maybe I'll do this a little bit more. And I'd sort of gotten out of StarCraft a little bit at that point. Like, I was focusing on all these other things, moving and doing all that. And then Diablo 3 was coming out, so I started applying this, what if I can, really seriously dedicate myself to making Diablo 3 videos, and to see how that goes. Like, I've seen, I made a few dollars on YouTube, like more than I'd made writing in the past. And I thought, well, I'm going to just give this a shot while I'm freelance writing. There's really not too much to lose. I need to just keep trying these things. And I've talked in the past about, in a previous Monday Musings, about progressing through failure. And I sort of was starting to have this idea then that, even if this didn't work out, or wasn't really what I wanted to do in the end, this might lead to something else. So I did that. Made some Diablo 3 videos, and they ended up being fairly successful, and from that I kept building a channel, and now I'm where you see me today, where I have a reasonably successful YouTube channel, and I'm able to do this for a living, essentially. Still a little bit in struggle bear mode, but really getting there, and this has totally become my passion now. Like, I'm feeling that same thing that I felt for StarCraft back in the day for YouTube now. So I feel like, at its very core, what StarCraft 2 did for me was it provided the platform for me to unlock my passion, to unlock this feeling that if I, truly apply myself to something, and, can get really passionate about something, and get really, really into it, I can be successful at it. And that has made me be open to opportunity in the future. And I think that's really, really important, being open to opportunity, because I watched this video a while back that was it was about luck. There was these guys doing this experiment on luck in this village, and he set up a bunch of situations where people would have the opportunity to be very lucky, like they would win something, or they would find some money or something like that. And he found the people that were really open to opportunities were the ones that were always ending up being lucky. And that's what luck is. Luck is being open to these opportunities, and realizing that if I, even though playing StarCraft, doing eSports, doing YouTube, writing, being my own boss, isn't the traditional style of living. Like, you know, you normally you go get a job. That's what you do. You follow your career. You buy the stuff you want to buy, and you get a house, and you do all that jazz. You follow this like script for your life. But if you can find something that you're really passionate about, or just apply this, really apply yourself to something that even if you think you possibly could be passionate about, then you can achieve these sorts of things. And StarCraft really unlocked that for me. So it's really an amazing game and an amazing community, and I'm pretty excited with Heart of the Swarm being out now to just get back into that a little bit. Like, I'm still, I'm really enjoying Path of Exile and doing all that content, but I want to, just sort of casually, I guess, re-dabble in StarCraft 2, and I've been enjoying casting these matches recently for you guys, and hopefully I can bring you guys plenty of StarCraft 2 content along with my other game content in the future. And hopefully I can keep being passionate about YouTube and keep applying myself to that and achieve that same sort of success. Get into Masters League on YouTube and get into Masters League in real life as well. We all start in bronze with these things, but if you can be passionate enough about them and really apply yourself and be open to the opportunities that are there, I think you can achieve Masters. So anyway, hopefully you guys have gotten something from this little story, this little anecdote, a little bit different to my normal Monday musings, but I felt it was pretty appropriate with Heart of the Swarm being out. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.